What would happen if you could stop worrying so much about what your team was doing all day and instead focus in on what you're supposed to be doing to move your business forward? Sounds like a dream, but right now you're living the nightmare of having to overcoach, over-handhold, and over-check in on your team's work. Let's put an end to that and instead roll out super clear 5-hour work plans, drum beats, and more of my signature tools that drive accountability and self-sufficiency deep into your team. All you have to do is join a Leadership Lab program, and I'll help you turn your team troubles into triumphs. You'll be learning and growing alongside some peers that will become valuable business friends. So why not go beyond this podcast and join us? It could be the smartest thing you do this year. Book a call with me and see what program would best fit you over at the website, stackingyourteam.com/programs. Hello, leader. Have you ever been perplexed as to how to get your part-time team members to shift into the next gear of performance at work? It's a common problem for small business owners, and combining that with the fact that most part-time people are young and new to the experience of working. So that adds a whole other layer to your challenge. I feel you. So in keeping with our recent conversations about Gen Z working in your small businesses, I thought I'd pull up and freshen up an on-air coaching call that was published a while back with the store owner. She was noticing that not everyone on her team was fully engaged at her home decor store. Even basic expectations were not being met on a consistent basis. And her store manager was out on maternity leave, and she was starting to feel like some of her part-timers saw this only as a job when she really wants them to see it for what it is, an incredible opportunity. And by the way, it's been a long while since I published an on-air coaching call. So in case you're wondering, guess who applied for and then join me for an on-air coaching call, agree to have their session aired because I don't charge them. If you're interested in this, you can always DM me on Instagram where I'm at Stacking Your Team. So come on and join in this conversation that takes me way back to my retail days. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast. Thanks for tuning in and following your curiosity to learn and honor your personal conviction to be the best leader you can be. On this podcast, you won't hear a bunch of theories presented by academics who haven't been in a workplace in years or ever, and you'll not hear from executives who are flush with capital, people, and pool tables in their cafeteria telling you how to build team culture. Nope. Why? Because you are a small business owner and you've built something great out of nothing. And through it all, you've learned that you need a team, but not just any team. I'm your host, Shelli Warren. I've led winning teams in retail, innovative technical teams at a Fortune 50 corporation for decades, not-for-profit boards, and in online business, and helped many remote teams win at work. And I can tell you that no one escapes team troubles, including me. These days, I'm the CEO of Stacking Your Team, where I teach and develop tools for small business owners so they can attract, retain, and develop their teams so the founder can step out of her day-to-day operation. I'm so happy you're here because we all know that the people side of running your business is often the most difficult, and the team that got you here may not be the team that gets you there. So come on, let's jump in to today's episode. Today's on-air coaching guest is Emily McGrath of Rowan's House, a design and decor shop located in an historical building in Corinth, Mississippi. She's also a podcaster. Her show is Building Businesses by Design and recently added real estate sales to her skill set. She's passionate about design and her local community, and including providing great employment opportunities and assisting people to find and then live in the home of their dreams. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast, Emily.
Good morning.
I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm loving what I'm seeing behind you. I love all the rustic decor that you have. I'm thinking this is your back room, your staff room?
It's actually our design room. So there are rugs behind me,
Oh, yes.
fabrics, and, lots of different things back here. So we have a meeting table where we meet with our customers.
I like it. Now I feel like a client that's coming in to have a design consultation with you.
Yes.
Well, could you please tell our listeners a little bit about your team?
So my team is very diverse. We have 2 girls that are probably, I would consider full-time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have 3 or 4 girls that work part-time. And of course, I have one of my ladies, she works 1 day a week. She's one of my good friends. And she's on Monday. You're going to see her every Monday, and she's here. But she also helps me with decorating. She's got a great eye for that. So I pull her along on jobs a lot as well. My full-time workers are, I guess one of them is almost my assistant, and she keeps me straight, keeps me where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there. But she also organizes the shop. She keeps the girls on task. She helps me with ordering, processing, invoicing, anything that I need, I guess, secretarial wise, she does that for me. Then I have another design assistant. She's actually an interior designer, and she helps me with big projects such as drawing up plans. She might help me pick out fabrics or furniture for my clients, but I take her along as well to help me with my design work. And then I have several college students and one high school student that help fill in at the shop. And they kind of just run things. I tell them I kind of feel like I work for them now because I'm in and out so much. So I just come in and pop in when I need to, and they tell me what I need to be doing. So I've got a really, really great team, and I feel like they're invested and they love it here. But I feel like also that I have a few newbies that maybe haven't grown with the shop. We're 4.5 years old now. We're almost 5 years old. And I feel like my core group have all but one have left. So, I've got this new crew. I guess my full-time worker has been here about a year, and my interior designer, she came and interned with me for a little while, and then she's come back. So she's also, a good one to have around. So anyway, so that's our team, and that's what we do.
And I love knowing that you have a core team, right? As entrepreneurs, there comes a point in time where you just cannot do it alone. And so when you take the effort and the investment to build out that strong foundation of a core team, those are the people who are really going to help you accelerate the growth within your business and be able to pull all your plans together, because they truly will be invested. You've brought them on early. You've hired them for a particular reason. They more than often have a key role in your business. It's clear as to what it is that they're supposed to be doing every day. So that's why you're having that success, and that's why you're feeling that sense of accomplishment and camaraderie, and just you're delighted by them because they're your core team. When we start to add in what I like to call what we're going to expand the team with additional team members, what can happen sometimes is your standards and your philosophies that you started with and that you trained your core team with can become watered down, and sometimes not even shared. Correct. So it really comes down to what's your onboarding practice look like. So you have some newbies on your team, and those new hires that have come and joined your team, how long have they been with you?
I guess a couple of them have been here about a year. 2 of them have been here about a year. But then I have one that has been here maybe 2 months. But the others have been in and out for about a year as well.
Okay. And so tell me about the signs and symptoms that you're feeling. Like, what is feeling off to you in terms of your team dynamics?
I feel like that half of my team sees my vision and what we want to do. But then the other half, and I feel like it's the younger half.
Okay.
I feel like they're just here for a job. Does that make sense?
So what if they are just here for a job? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
So let's just work through that. So what? They're here for a job.
Right.
Can you live with that?
I don't like that.
You don't like that.
That's not my personality. No,
It's
I've
not a,
always been a worker, and I feel like I've always invested
Mhm.
in people. And anything that I'm doing, I feel like I've always put 200% in, and I feel like they should do the same. And I feel like half of the team does that, and then half doesn't. But I feel like it's my younger team, so I'm torn as to how much do you mentor,
Mhm.
how much do you try to teach that,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's my business.
Mhm.
And I feel like the younger generation maybe doesn't have that quality. So maybe I should be trying to invest more time into them. But I don't have that time.
Right. Tell me about your current feedback processes. So how does a new hire,
Mm-hmm.
how do they hear feedback? Who shares the feedback with them about their performance?
Probably my shop manager and
Okay.
myself.
Okay. And your shop manager, is that person with them like a good part of their shift when they're in the shop?
She is. We've just recently gone through a transition because she had a baby.
Okay.
So she has been working more from home. So
Mhm.
she hasn't been here as much, but she's starting to come back, if that makes sense. So she's starting to be here a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And so if she is the conduit, if she's the main source of feedback to your new hires and she's not there on a regular basis, then what ends up happening, it's that whole story of no news is good news. And
Yes.
as long as there's customers coming through the door, which in reality, those new hires are not in, they're not having any influence in, essentially, right? People that are coming to your store are coming to your store because they love it and they love you. They're just all about the style. They want to be able to come in and get re-inspired. So that's where they're coming coming to your shop. It's really up to those new hires to realize that they're the first moment of truth.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person that walks in to your shop, they are the first moment of truth. So one of the things they need to be taught is how to show up every day in the shop. And that gets right down to appearance, the vocabulary that they use.
Yes.
We need to teach them how to sell.
Yes.
We need to teach them how to greet people.
Yes.
Right? They're really the bookend of that experience. So the first person they see when they come in the store, and they're the last person they see at the checkout counter. So it's all those things that are happening in between that your shop manager really needs to be able to lean in and role model for them. So how are you onboarding new team members now? How do they get trained?
So generally they'll come in for a couple of days just to kind of see, how they fit in, learn our system. There are so many aspects to our shop because like you said, we have wedding registry, we have gifts, we do interior design. So we do a lot of custom work. One of the things that I've implemented is templates for them to go by. But if they don't open the envelope to use the templates, and I've tried several times to get them to. So it's really, I guess I'm not conveying my messages the way I should, or maybe, and I've tried to fill in for my shop manager since she's been out. But again, I've not had that time. So I guess that's something that she and I need to sit down and do maybe. But they come in and they kind of just job shadow for a while because there are so many different aspects of our shop. And then then it's like, okay, I'm going to let you help this customer, or they'll start, checking people out and things like that. But, when it comes to helping a customer find bedding or helping a customer find, the right fabric for their home, those are the things I think that they don't feel confident in.
So oftentimes what we can do to our new hires, and it's not our intention. Like, it's not like we come to work every day and think, how can I mess up my new hires, right? That's not what we're doing when we come in. But what we can do inadvertently is we give them way too much information at the beginning and they simply can't handle it.
Sure.
And I know that you would have done a really good job through the interviewing process, but you're not just giving out jobs at your shop like candy, right? You're making some serious decisions as to who you're going to bring onto your team.
Yes, ma'am.
And here's what we want to think about and how to help you move forward. So one thing is on your onboarding, if you can have a look at each new person that comes in, what's the flow of what they're being trained to do? Because I want to give you permission today, Emily, to realize that you don't have to train every new person in everything at once. What you can do is break down the various roles that they're going to play while they're at the shop. So the first thing that you would want to start training them on is how to greet a customer coming in.
Okay.
You know, it's that whole idea of creating that welcoming presence, starting to learn people's names, starting to learn people's different styles. And then also, once they move past the welcoming, then it comes down to, how can I help you? Mm-hmm. All of those conversation starters where we help people make some decisions as to how can we, you know, make this experience for you today a wonderful thing. And then you move on to having them learn one particular thing in the shop. So, and you would prioritize that. So it could be your staples, you know, having your team members understand the most popular things that you sell. Okay. The things that just, you know, you're constantly having to redo the inventory on because you know that they're just super popular. So you want to have your team members know what those are. Then you might want to understand what's the hottest and the latest inventory that you're carrying right now. What are the new things? So every person that comes into the shop for the day needs to get educated right up front. What new stock do we have in right now? Any promotions that we're running right now? Is there something that you and your shop manager are trying to push? Like maybe you're overstocked on something. So let's educate what our team members are on those things. And so initially, as they're onboarding into your team, they're understanding how to welcome a team member, how to welcome a client in, how to start a conversation, how to look like help to them. They totally understand your basic popular items. Mm-hmm. They also know what's new, what's the new inventory, and is there anything on promotion or that you're trying to push? Okay. Once they have a good grip on that, then we can move them over into the cash register, right? Which is a whole other skill set. Yes. It's a totally whole other skill set at the cash because you are the final moment of truth. It's not just ringing up the sale. It's wrapping the merchandise properly. It's taking care to be able to continue on the conversation, have that eye contact with them because you're really building up the conversation for the next time they come in. So once they learn how to start their shift and how to literally show up on their shift in terms of looking like help to not only customer but you, then we can graduate them over into how to close the sale. And then you might want to think about having certain people on your team become experts within certain inventory lines. Like, is there someone on your team that would be really great to handle all the bridal registry, like to really understand that aspect of your business? And then is there someone on your team that could really be the initial person that they could help guide if someone's coming in looking for a reupholstery job, or someone's coming in looking for some other kind of custom job, or someone that's just coming in just looking for some general inquiries about custom design with you? Is there someone on your team who really would know how to guide that customer to the next step? Okay. And all throughout this priority training, right? So we're not just going to try and train them on everything. We're going to have an actual sequence of training. Okay. And then that sequence, you'll repeat like a drumbeat, right? Every new person that comes onto your team, I don't care if they're hot and excited to learn bridal registry because they're getting married next year. Nope. You start with the core duties here at the shop, and that's welcoming people in to have an experience with us, right? You bring them right back down to basics and they walk through that sequence of training. And what that assures you and your shop manager is consistency. Okay. Now, you know, every single person on your team is being trained the same way in the same methods. They're being held accountable to your standards and your philosophies through feedback. So tell me about, you mentioned earlier that your shop manager is typically the one that provides some feedback, but how does that happen?
Usually face to face, or she'll call me in and we, talk about it to to the employee. So we have had a few meetings here and there, but it's hard to get all the girls together, you know, things like that. So typically it's face to face and we'll talk about whatever's going on.
Okay. So now with your shop manager coming back from mat leave, this is perfect timing for you, Emily. It's a gift that she's coming back because this is your opportunity to hit the reset button.
Yes.
On how you're going to provide feedback to everyone on your team.
Okay.
And let's think about how you could do it on a drumbeat in a way that every single person knows how they're going to get feedback and who they're getting feedback from. Because we want to have daily touch points, right? You want to have moments throughout their shift where you're catching them doing something great. Right, where you're going to pull them aside and say, I just love the way you worked with that client. You know, it's the first time she's been here. We could tell that she had a wonderful experience. She'll be back. Wonderful how you handled all her questions. Or you see them working with a more difficult customer and applaud them on their efforts for that, as well as give them some additional coaching, like saying things like, you know, maybe next time you might want to think about showing them this or starting out with this and then moving them over into this. Now you've got you're wonderful at all these things. So you want to be able to roll down and share the expertise that you and your shop manager would have. So you've got those shift lead touch points. And I find with a new person coming on board, the best way to set them up for success is give them some feedback right at the beginning of their shift and right at the end of their shift. So you want to bookend their shift. So when they come in the morning, you're going to give them some feedback about things to be prepared for today. You know, here's some of the fires that we've been putting out today. So-and-so called in sick. You know, the delivery truck just came in. We haven't had a chance to go and offload that and get anything out into the storeroom. You know, you're sort of like laying the day out for them. And that's when you would say to them, if you could, during your discretionary time today, if you could help us unpack new shipments, we would be so appreciative of that.
Okay.
Right. So now you're telling her you've got to focus on the clients today and the customers that are going to be coming in. But if there's any breathing room, any space at all, please come back and give us a hand.
Gotcha. Okay.
Versus thinking they'll just know that.
Right.
Because sometimes that's what we do, right? We think, well, they should know that.
Yes.
But in their mind, they're thinking, well, the last feedback I got was that I'm supposed to be here right at the front door waiting for people to come in, or I'm supposed to be straightening shelves. I'm supposed to be making sure that, you know, the new merchandise it's totally fabulous and it's at the front of the store as soon as people come in. Like all these things are going through their head. Sometimes we need to bring them back and just reset them for their shift and remind them what's important for today.
Okay.
Right? Team members love predictability, but we also know that come on, this is life. Like things happen. And sometimes our priorities will shift. And when you start to see them being able to be more agile and be able to flow with what's happening in the shop, then you can start giving them feedback on that, on their ability to do that. And then that will motivate them to, instead of waiting for you to tell them what's the priority for the day, they'll be coming right in to their shift and saying, what's the priority for the day?
And Shelli, I think too that you hit on it. I think our biggest thing is inconsistency and just everybody not doing the same thing. So that's something that we really need to work on. And I think by giving that feedback and just going back and like you said, just starting with one thing and then working our way down and just letting that be our mantra and just continuing to teach those things is going to be really, really good.
Because what you're building is a foundation of skills that they can not only use and grow and evolve with you at your shop, but they can use those same skills when they take off and go to university or when whatever it is they're going to do next, they will always remember what they learned at your shop. And the other thing that we can do in terms of giving them feedback on their performance is to come flat out and ask them, like, do you like it here?
Yeah.
You know, what are you finding is most interesting to you? It helps to understand each person on your team, what is their aspirations, because some of them may be intrigued by the entire inventory process.
Mhm.
Like you might not think that, but others, wow, like over time, people can really start to learn what it's like to really run a store like the one that you have. And you may just find by teaching them more about how the business runs and how you make decisions in the business, they'll actually have so much more ownership for their what they're calling a JOB that might evolve into what their role is at your shop. And then they'll become so much more invested.
Sounds good.
So it's wonderful to see you have the success and you're building a wonderful team, Emily. It really just comes down to being a little bit more consistent about how you're going to onboard people and delegate ownership. And I think your new hires, as well as even your more experienced people, are thirsty to learn from you. So the more you can give them some insight into what it takes to be a CEO and a business owner of a particular business like you have, the more interested they're going to be, and they're going to want to stay working with you for a lot longer.
Good. That's what we want. We want them here for a long time. So,
well, thanks so much for joining us today, Emily, and sharing a little bit about you, your business, and your team. I mean, this is how people learn, is by really understanding some of the challenges that other CEOs have within their businesses and being able to take and reapply the learnings that you've had.
Well, thank you, Shelli, so much for having me. I've learned so much today, and continue doing your great work.
Thank you. If you'd like some help developing people to step up and become leaders in your small business, why not consider enrolling them into the Leadership Lab Team Leader Program? They'll get very relevant on-demand trainings and a resource library designed to help them excel as a highly valued team member. They'll also have access to our private community for real-time support, a quarterly live training call, and a monthly drop-in Q&A call with me, all at a very affordable price. You know that the people side of running your business is often the hardest, so why not get some quality help and move into this year better prepared for more growth instead of dealing with team turnover, disappointments, and overpaying for mediocre performance? I'm here to help you. You can get the details and book a call with me over at the website at stackingyourteam.com. You know, leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times. So don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been craving. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.